Hello children, this is Auntie Debbie, Nanny Debbie, whatever you wish to call me. I found another old book when I was going through my parents' library called The Jungle Doctor's Monkey Tales. Very old book, and it's all composed by Paul White. And the first story I wanted to read you is called The Goat Who Wanted to Become a Lion. In the firelight, Dowdy looked intently at the faces of those who listened. He smiled as he saw Magogo sitting on a pumpkin nursing his very small dog. Dowdy walked up and down, holding in his hand the miniature goat that Johanna the chip carver had made. "Hongo," he said, "there was once a goat who was very strong indeed." Such was the evidence of both eye and nose. Laughter and a wrinkling of noses came from those sitting round the fire. Dowdy went on. Mbuzi, the goat, tossed his horns and felt the comforting swing of his much-admired beard. "Truly," he remarked to his shadow, "I am a goat of strength, a splendid creature indeed, such as I should no longer be a mere goat." He's the goat. His name is Mbuzi. He thought confused thoughts in his goat mind, and at last from this whirl emerged an idea. In his loud and characteristic voice he informed the jungle, "I shall become a lion." But nobody took any notice. They were used to the ways and the words of goat, and Mbuzi was determined with the determination of his species. So he pranced along to the mbuyu tree where Niani the monkey scratched with enterprise and result. "Niani," he called, "I wish above all things to become a lion. As a creature of education, tell me, how do goats become lions?" Monkey hung by his tail, the better to master his monkey wisdom. He pondered deeply and chatted in a knowledgeable fashion for a while, and then swung on to a suitable branch from which to explain. "It is a simple matter, O goat, but there are many things you must do. Listen with wide open ears." Mbuzi nodded his head and peered up into the branches, a position which he knew admirably displayed his beard. Thoughtfully, Monkey broke twigs and flipped them towards the upturned face. He held up his right monkey hand and spoke with great deliberation. "For goats to become lions, behold, there are 4 rules. First, they must go where lions go." He paused dramatically and lifted the second monkey finger. "They do what lions do." Goat nodded and started to clear his throat, but Niani went on hurriedly. "Thirdly, goats to become lions must say what lions say." Niani took up a dramatic pose on the limb and waved his 4th finger. "Finally, you must eat what lions eat. Do all these things and you will become a lion." Goat's eyes rolled as he tried to contemplate. "Go where lions go," he muttered. "Do," the words were lost in a mumble. "Say," his voice became a trial roar that ended in the treble. He stopped uncertainly, goat memory failing, but Monkey was ready. "And eat what lions eat," he prompted. With a maa of triumph, Mbuzi set out, his goat legs moving in as lion a way as he could make them, his tail proving even harder to manage, for a goat's tail is a restless thing. Then, with a tremendous effort, he controlled it and stalked sedately down the very middle of the road. And there he is, trying to be a lion. Look at that. Trying to control his tail and walk like a lion walks. In the shade of a boulder he stopped and spent no little time in roaring practice. His discouragement at the appearance of an occasional squeak was forgotten when he saw a large bone. Eagerly he picked this up and began to gnaw and roar and roar and gnaw. After a most satisfactory session, he replaced the bone carefully under his left leg and recited, "Go and do and say and eat." and as each foot sedately touched the road, he now moved down the exact middle. He said in a new, deep, goat-like tone, "Go where lions go, do what lions do, say what lions say, and eat what lions eat." And Buzzy stopped, sensing that he was being watched. With a small smile, he thought, I'm meeting a fellow lion. At that moment, a long shadow stretched down the road. Goat adjusted his tail, gnawed his bone, and moved forward again, his muscles rippling. From his great height, Twigger the giraffe smiled. "The sun has strength these days in Buzzy," he remarked. Goat roared and waved his bone in a menacing fashion. "I am a lion. I'm going to eat you, Twigger." "Oh, yes, yes," came Twigger's soothing tones. "I understand. Now be a wise goat. Go home, take 2 pawpaw leaves, place them on either side of your head, and rest it on a cold stone. You'll feel better tomorrow." Goat uttered a horrible sound that ended shrilly. "I am a lion! A lion! A lion!" Giraffe looked most sympathetic as he nodded his head kindly and moved away rather hastily. With legs and tail behaving very much like any other goat, and with tears running down his beard, Buzzy rushed back to the buyu tree. "Monkey," he bleated, "I have no joy. I am now the scorn of Giraffe, and behold, I am still a goat. I've done and said and eaten and gone," and his voice was as unhappy, somewhat moist, bleat. Leone considered the problem, scratching with care and without result, for the wells of monkey wisdom filled but slowly. At last the answer came. "Hongo! No wonder! How stupid of me! Of course it didn't work." Goat pranced in impatience. "Well, what yet must I do?" But Monkey was out of earshot, tearing bark from a tree. Then, leaping to the ground for a piece of charcoal, he sat on a smooth rock, working with great concentration. Goat peered over his shoulder and saw strange marks, which to him looked like the word lion. Lion. And here's Monkey. See, here he is, writing the word lion on the piece of bark. "Wear this," said Monkey, poking his finger through the bark, and then pulling it over the shorter of Buzzy's horns. There he stood back, admiring his work. "You're labelled. Every educated creature in the jungle will know you are a lion. Look what he's done. He's given him a label." Now, honestly, what do you think? A pleasant thrill crept through Goat, and he barely heard Monkey say, "And anything you might like to leave under this buyu tree would be appreciated." Thinking lion thoughts, he moved through the jungle, his tail moving to and fro in the approved way, his pace exactly that of the king of beasts, his bleat growing more of a roar with every step, and while the way he gnawed his bone was all that he could be asked of any lion. "Go and do and eat and say," he muttered to himself. And Buzzy's eyes gleamed as he saw a movement in the shadows. He was one of his new species. He moved forward, but mild disgust wrinkled his nose when he saw that the animal coming down the road towards him was Zebra. The striped one stopped and looked at him rather anxiously. Goat gnawed and roared in what he felt was the best lion tradition. So there is Zebra, and Goat's roaring at him. Zebra smiled. "The sun's very hot these days, O Goat. Do you think it is wise for you to go out in the middle of the day?" In as deep a voice as he could manage, Goat said, "I shall eat you if you're not very careful and very respectful. Do you not see that I have become a lion?" He shook his label under Zebra's nose. "I go where lions go. I do what lions do. I eat what lions eat. And I say what lions say." Oh, Zebra nodded. "Of course you do, but now go home and wrap your head in pawpaw leaves and rest it on a nice cool stone, and you'll feel." Goat's tail twitched most goatily and he rushed down the road in a rage, his label flying unread in the wind. Zebra looked after him and laughed till his stripes got tangled on his shaking skin. On walked Imbuzzy towards the place where lions lived, roaring most convincingly. He strode round a great rock. It was a place of echoes, and his roaring never reverberated, especially in a shaded cavern. Goat adjusted his label and carefully went through his routine. "Is there a lion in the house?" His voice was unnaturally deep. "Is there a lion in the house?" replied the echo. And Buzzy felt his hide creep, and goose pimples appeared in his more delicate sections. "Is there a lion?" he roared, and his ears were charmed by the way the echo retreated his voice. But he was startled as the volume grew and grew when his lips had long been silent. In the tawny sunlight a large shadow moved. Then came Imbuzzy's voice again, slightly high-pitched. "I have become a lion." He stopped suddenly, seeing a great tail moving majestically. A singularly unbrotherly feeling gripped him as hot, hungry breath swept into his face, and huge paws hurtled at him, striking off his label. The cavern overflowed with thunderous noise which slowly settled into the well-ordered sound of the movement of powerful jaws. Goat had become... Dowdy hesitated, and Gogo's eager voice broke in. "Had become a lion's dinner!" "Truly," smiled the hospital assistant, "there is only one way that a goat could become a lion." There was a pause. A voice replied, "The only way would be for goat to be born a second time as a lion cub." Dowdy was on his feet. "Right," he said, "that's just it. These are the very words of Jesus himself. You must be born again if you are to become a Christian. Jesus was crucified and came back to life, not to produce better men of the old kind, but a new kind of man. It is mere monkey wisdom to think that you can become a Christian by doing things and saying things, even saying them with eyes that turn upwards." Those that listened sat very still. There is small satisfaction in following the combined wisdom of goat and monkey. Now that was a very great book, story, wasn't it? Actually, this book, now I realise, was given to my brother when he was in a Sunday school class way back in December in 1963. So this is what this book's all about. It's all about little picked stories that depict Christian beliefs at the end of them. So that's what that one was called. It was called The Goat Who Wanted to Become a Lion. And there are other little stories in this book which I will continue to read shortly.